So things are crazy out there, and I'm releasing a video right now, but I just wanted to really quickly go over something that is kind of people miss this sometimes, and that is, why do stocks go up? What causes the prices to move? And we can attack that from a couple different vantage points. The first one would be supply and demand. So the supply of money obviously has increased recently. So there's more supply of money to go in the market. And as far as demand for stocks, the amount of stocks has stayed the same. The things that drive real returns in the stock market are threefold: earnings growth and dividends growth, GDP growth of the nation, inflation, which ties in with GDP growth of the nation, and the last one is speculative risk. Now, the reason why you can have things that are mispriced at times is because of that speculative risk component, or speculative return, I should say, component. The inflation piece is, we don't know what's about to happen with it, but that piece is supposedly set by the Fed, a supposedly non-government entity, but I don't know. I'm not sure about that non-government thing at this point, the way they're propping up the markets. But anyways, what are we talking about? Inflation. That's set at about 2%. GDP growth, we usually see 2, 3, 4% maybe per year, which is also tied to inflation in the supply of money. The last portion, speculative return. So if we're having 8, 9, 10% returns per year, and we're only having real, changes in dividends and earnings of 5% or so, obviously there's some firm specific return in the earnings growth. Say, Microsoft grows 16%. Well, you'd expect to see some return from that if their earnings grew by that much. But the market as a whole and earnings as a whole are not growing at that rate. So all of that to say, that was a very roundabout way to say that what we are looking at is speculative return. So the question is speculative return already too high and it's set to go down? Or is it already too low and it's set to go up? The speculative return, it's based on what people think. So the question is, are people thinking too high or too low? So I just wanted to put out that quick message for you guys about those three portions of the stock market return. And those are the inflation, because the price of goods goes up with businesses, so that increases the value of the businesses. GDP growth, earnings growth, and dividend growth. And the last one is speculative. So you could have a negative speculative return, which we had potentially in March, which we might go lower than that. But if your economy is growing and stock prices are going down, you're going to tack it on that speculative return. So that is the major driver of most returns, is what people think at the time. And right now, kind of doesn't matter what people think right now, because we're not really living in, something. Basically, there's a thing called the invisible hand. And it basically, it's driven by supply and demand, by transactions between people, and it's not being allowed to function on its own. You see things like the government stepping in for things like price gouging. If you were to allow, the invisible hand to operate with regards to price gouging, you would see people step in, you would see firms step in and supply those things that are being highly priced because they see profit opportunity there. So supply would meet demand. Right now, the supply and the demand, it's not being allowed to regulate itself. So I just wanted to get on here and give that little message. And yeah, you see it in other areas too. I mean, you see it in even the student loan crisis. I mean, things like, why are colleges able to charge so much money? And that's because the supply of money has been backed by the government. So the demand of money went way up. And now people have house payments on a piece of paper. It's just the intervention, it's crazy. It's out of hand. It's making things make no sense. So anyways, hopefully you guys like this little video. Kind of just a rant, I guess. Guess I'm turning into Dave Ramsey, Grandpa Ramsey or something, and Grandpa Burns. But anyways, yeah, that's that. Y'all have a blessed day.